Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise, and we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Welcome, dear viewer and listener, to another episode of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Always a thrill, a privilege, and an honor to come to you and to share life-changing business information. I always trust and believe that you derive cutting-edge information from the creme de la creme of this market in terms of entrepreneurship. And I do have a wonderful guest in the field of podcasting, in the field of entrepreneurship in general, and my friend, my colleague, my fellow podcaster, Mr. Mpho Mutaurirwa.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, Mr. Mogobe.
You know, I was really privileged and honored to appear on your podcast.
Yes.
Deep dive sessions.
Yes.
And all I'm doing now is extracting retribution and revenge.
I like that. And I must congratulate you. Your video is doing very well on our channel. I think it's right now in terms of viewership, it's the top 5.
Oh, that's
out
great.
Of 54 videos.
Oh, that's good.
So it's good. It's amazing.
Yeah,
the people love you.
No, I hope to be number 1 soon.
Yeah.
Listen, let's start off by an introduction. My viewers may not know who you are and may not be familiar with your background.
Right. Okay, my name's Mpho Mutaurirwa. I am 25 years old. I like to introduce myself as a child of God and an avid entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship very much. It's at the heart of my heart, you know. And I'm a podcaster. I'm the director and host of Deep Dive Sessions, a podcast, but it's morphing into a brand now. And I'm very excited to see where it's going to go. And I'm also the founder and CEO of Davinci Tutoring Academy. That's a tutoring academy we have in Ramutso.
Yes, it's
sir.
called?
Davinci. Yes, sir.
As in the Davinci Code.
Yes, sir. As in Leonardo da Vinci. Yes. Yes.
And academics?
Academics, I studied BBA, Entrepreneurship and Enterprise Development. Graduated in UB 2020. We were the COVID class. You know, our names are coming out like movie credits. Yeah. That's a lot of what I've done, but a lot of entrepreneurship was just self-taught, doing online courses and, you know, reading books. I know an avid reader. So yeah, a lot of that is just that.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the podcast. Where did the idea start?
Okay, the idea started in my third year in varsity, but I always wanted to have a podcast. You know, it's a funny story that my parents just told me about a year ago. They were telling me that when I was growing up, I used to bother them with so many questions. You know, I know kids get to that age where they just ask questions all the time. So apparently I was that guy. And fast forward, I used to watch podcasts and think, you know, I would enjoy doing this. And in my bedroom right now, there's a book that I read on a daily basis. It was my 5-year plan. I wrote that at 10:59 p.m. on April the 10th. Yeah, April the 10th. This was 3 years ago. So I wrote, I want to start a podcast. I want to have a live audience. All these things, and then, you know, everything is just coming to fruition. This idea really took place when I was doing my 3rd year. So when you study entrepreneurship at UB, so the course itself, we don't have attachment like other courses. We have to do research and we have to have a project that we do. So in my research, my data collection method was using interviews. You know, so I was taking my iPhone 6 and I would go to CEO. So my research topic was, I was researching migrant entrepreneurs. So I was researching all these migrant entrepreneurs who came to Botswana and are now making it in Botswana and are doing well for themselves. So that was my thing. So I would go to them and sit down with them and just ask them the questions I had written. So I'd have about 8 questions. I asked them the questions. And then after probably like the third or second entrepreneur that I was interviewing, I just started asking my own personal questions now, just adding to everything. And I enjoyed it so much. And I was like, I could do this every day. I could do this anytime. You could wake me up at 2 a.m. and I'll do this. And that's where the idea started from. And it only came to fruition properly February 16th, 2021. That was when we had our first deep dive episode. I was sitting down with Kagiso Morakotsa. I know you've sat down with him also here on the Nuggets. And we were using a ring light and an iPhone 8. And it was a live Facebook video. Yeah, it was a live Facebook video, February 16th. That was when we shot our first video. And then from there, we shot about 11 episodes on Facebook. Actually, even on my Facebook page, those old episodes are there. And then we only made the move to YouTube March 2022.
Oh, very recent. Well, a year ago or something like that.
Yeah, it's quite recent.
Yeah. Why the name Deep Dive Sessions?
Deep Dive Sessions. So my thing was, we want to sit down and dive deep into your world, and understand how things are in your world. So that's really where the name came from. I don't really think too much about it. It's just that when I thought about sitting down with, say, the likes of you, I'd want to dive deep. I'd want to go
not
deep
just
into
superficial.
Not just superficial. I want to go really, really deep into really what makes you tick, what created the entrepreneur we see today.
Yeah.
So that's really where the name came from.
Okay. Now let's deep dive now. Let's dig deeper.
Yes.
Now the school, which came first, the podcast or the school or the tuition service?
Oh, so the tutoring started before deep dive. Started 2019.
Okay.
And then COVID hit. We had a period where we went running because of COVID, and then we came back in 2021 April. Yeah, we came back in 2021 April, and then we started running.
Tell us about it. What is the differentiator? What is your unique selling proposition?
You're putting me on the spot, right? All right. So the tutoring.
Yeah.
So our tagline is Dare to Dream. We exist for the dreamers. So every time, because I'm also very close, even with the kids, I still engage with the kids on a day-to-day basis. And I'm always telling them, we're here for the dreamers. Our tagline is Dare to Dream. So what we do is we try to tailor make for every child that comes to us. We understand that no child is the same. So we're trying to tailor make a system of learning that works for the child. So every time I talk even to parents, I'll tell them, your child is coming, but you have absolutely no idea what to do until we have a sit down with the child. We obviously have best practices, but we understand that no child learns the same. And then that's really what we're trying to build, because we realize that we just we can't box kids. Especially this younger generation, they're very, very fast, so you can't box them. You have to teach them in a way that they will appreciate and in a way that will really get to the depth of what they need to learn and understand. So that's really what I think is our unique selling point.
Yeah.
We're tailor-making it for every child that comes through.
How many levels? How many classes?
So we start from primary, standard 1, all the way up to form 5. Yes.
And is it people who are repeating, or you do take some who are just raw?
Oh yes, that's a great question. So we have part-time and full-time. Part-time is the ones that come from school, and then they come for an hour session with us. And then we have full-time. Those are the ones that are probably rewriting, and the ones that are not going to school on a daily basis. Okay. So they come, and then we teach them. And then I don't know if online is. Yeah, we also have online. Yeah, we also have online, but we don't do a lot of online yet. But we have just started actually just getting on online. Yeah. Just because we realized that we can reach more kids and we can serve more.
Okay. What do the numbers look like at the moment?
The numbers at the moment, the enrollment of part-time is 17 in Ramotswa. And then I have a team of 3. I don't like to call them employees, but I call them a team. I have team members. 3
team members, yes.
Yes, I have 3 of them. And then we also have, we are looking to open our next branch in. So I say Ramotswa because it's easier for people to gauge. But there is a village before you get to Ramotswa that's called Taung. Many people don't know about Taung. That's actually where the tutoring company is. So leading to my next point, we have, we're looking to branch into Ramotswa very, very soon. I don't know if I should give the dates yet.
Yeah, well, give us an idea.
I don't know if I should give the dates yet because my competitors are also watching me. But we're looking to break into Ramotswa very, very, very soon. And we have an amazing lineup of programs. Right now, we're looking to have an event in January where we're going to be.
Event?
It's going to be an event where, so our market of Taung is overladen with kids that are into drugs. We're having a very, very big challenge. On the ground, it's terrible.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, like hard drugs actually, not the soft stuff, hard stuff. And these are kids, 13, 14, 15. We don't even. It's just a problem in Taung. So what we're gonna do is we're looking to bring.
Because it's near the road, or what?
I really don't know. Also, maybe it's because it's near the border. Maybe things I just don't know what the problem is, but it's a big, big problem. And our mandate is not just to help kids, on an educational level. Because if you are just, pumping information into a child, but they're not right as a child, they're into drugs, they're into all these things, it's really not going to work. So we have a duty to really make sure that even the environment
we are try and rehabilitate them first.
Not really. It's not our turf, but we are bringing experts in that area. So that's what the event will be about. January, we're going to have experts. This is actually a former guest I've had on Deep Dive, Mr. Mokoni. I'm sure you've had him here too. Boyson Mokoni.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Mokoni is a familiar name. Yeah.
Yes. Who he was into drugs for 20 years, 1994 to 2014.
Yeah, I've had him here.
Yes. And he will be coming through.
He calls me his mentor.
Yes. I
call him my mentor too.
Yes, he's definitely very knowledgeable in that area because he has lived it. So we're going to have him come through, put up a session. We're going to be talking to the Khosi, we're going to be talking to different schools and really educate the kids, but not just educate them, but show them a way out of recovery. Because sometimes we just go and give information, but we're not showing them the way. This is the blueprint. To get out of this state that we're in.
Tell me about the subjects that you offer in terms of currently now in the tutoring.
Okay, so the subject we offer, we focus on the core subjects. So this will be, if for example I'm talking about a Form 2 student, it'll be maths, science, English, and Setswana. We've realized that if we spend 80% of our time on the core subjects, we're gonna get an ROI so big that even the other ones that are not cores, the children tend to perform well. So it's kind of like that 80-20 rule thing. Yeah, we focus 80% of our time on the core and then 20% on the non-cores. Yes, and then we realize that this brings up the kids. They naturally go up. Even if we don't touch them, we can go a month without even teaching these other subjects that are not cores, but they will still do well because they still use the same framework and principles to apply on the on the others that are not cores.
Do you infuse an element of personal development?
Most definitely.
And how do you do that?
Most definitely. So I sit down with my tutors from time to time and I tell them that we have to ignite the kids. It can be from pain, it can be from pleasure. And from time to time, I always tell them, you have to...
Pain as in corporal punishment?
No, not pain, but having them, showing them a picture that they should avoid.
Oh, okay.
And then also showing them the picture that you should work towards. Yes. And I tell them that, because what I'm also privileged to do is that these are the people that I tutored. So now I've employed. And now they understand the system and even how I used to do it. And they would tell me, when you said that, when you gave me that speech about not giving up, sometimes I talk about eagles, the attributes of an eagle, how it flies up everything, and then I tie it to what they should do, and even show them that the game is winnable. You just need to understand how to do it. So I infuse it a lot. It's a big part of what we do, because that's the key. I give this scenario that it's like a door. You have to first unlock the door. That is the personal development. You have to unlock the door. And then the teaching is just opening the door and walking through the door. So you can try it. If you try to hit the knob, if you just try to hit the handle without unlocking the door, it will never open. You have to make the ground ripe for you to now make sure that you get through the door.
How do you overcome the initial resistance to readership?
That's a big one.
Which is widespread.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's something that we're learning even on a day-to-day basis, to be honest. So what we do is I incentivize them. I remember some of the students that I used to tutor, the ones that have been with us for the longest time. I would even give them prizes, sometimes in monetary form. I'll tell them, if you get this, if you read this, and you show me that you read this book and you tell me about it, if I ask you about this book.
Ethical bribes.
I like that. I'm going to steal that.
Now I call them incentives. Yeah.
Yes. So I do that. I incentivize them, but I also let them know the value of reading. Because I think sometimes for kids, it's just the level of understanding. When you understand them and they understand you, almost anything you say, they take it as gospel, and they will definitely get to it. So that's been our experience.
I think it's John Maxwell who says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Exactly.
So you demonstrate how much you care for them first.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that you're very adept at is content creation. What's your understanding of content creation, and how do you create your content?
That's a great question. So I'm actually not so experienced in this field. I just started not so long ago also. But I believe content creation to be a pathway. This is where you are letting the world interact with you, and you're also letting yourself interact with the world. That's the way I like to look at content creation, because all of us are brands. We're showing up in a way every day. So you creating content, you're just getting ahead of the curve. You're allowing them to get to see you and get to experience what you are all about. You're not leaving it up to chance, where people have to now ask you, what do you do? What are you into? Because people will reach out to you, and you'll always be able to build even a tribe of followers. I have a couple thousand followers on different platforms, and these are people that appreciate what we talk about, because it's not just me. I'm not speaking to them. I'm speaking with them. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
So in that context, we think of your podcasting as content creation, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is the niche? What is the niche area that you are targeting in this regard?
And podcasting, we speak business, personal development, and personal finance. Those are the only 3 areas that we are into, because they're also huge. Just all 3 of them. Even if we just took one, it would be a huge area. Just business in and of itself is a huge area. So that's our niche. Personal development, personal finance, business.
Okay. And how has been the reception from the public, and what was your breakthrough?
Breakthrough, I don't even know if I've reached the breakthrough that I should be reaching, or that I aspire towards. But definitely I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. A funny story, I didn't know this happens. So one of the times when we were shooting at fairgrounds, after finishing, and this was around 8:30ish. I think I was bidding well to the speaker that had come through. The moment I walked back in, a guy screamed out my name, and he was like, Mpho. And I'm like, I don't know he was talking to me. He just screamed out my name. He's like, Mpho.
It's a common name.
And I'm like, maybe it's just a common name. Plus, I don't think I'm well known anyway. And then he said, deep dive. Then I was like, okay, no, for sure. He's talking about us. And then he came. It was a humbling moment, because even the look in his eyes, he came and gave me a hug. He's like, man, I love your content. I've been following you on Facebook. I've watched your YouTube videos. and I love your content. It's inspiring. And he gave me a story of how he was at a low point in his life, and now he is. There was a post I had made about not giving up and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And he said he read that post and he keeps rereading it. And he said he's now started a business, something like that. He said he started a business, and he's now looking to see where it's gonna go. And he said, I'm a big factor to that. And it was a very humbling moment, because I never thought it, even when you look at the numbers, you wouldn't think that's the amount of impact. But
I get a lot of that when I'm in the queue at the bank.
You probably do.
A lot of strangers coming forward saying, thank you for what you're doing. Keep on doing it. It's a labor of love. At some point, it becomes a labor of love.
It's a labor of love, definitely.
But have you had any low moments? And normally, how do you handle those low moments?
Oh, yes. I've had low moments. I remember one of the episodes we were shooting. This was actually in the early days. I was traveling because I don't stay in Gaborone. I was traveling from Ramotsa. In fact, I'd gone to Lobatse first, and then I come to Gaborone. Yes. Actually, a backstory to that. I should tell you this. When I finished my varsity, when varsity ended, I didn't have any money. I was dead broke. So what I did was, I took my parents' car. I was like, allow me to use your car. I will pair up people on this car, and I will go to Gaborone and come back. So this was actually one of the beginning days. I used to leave Ramotsa. I would come to Gaborone. It was 10 pula by then. And then I would have 4 people in the car. That was 40 pula. I would use that money, fuel it, go to Lobatse. And from Lobatse, I would come back to Gaborone. I could not come and shoot Deep Dive if I had not done that. That was in the early days on Facebook. Because this was, we get allowance at varsity. And then you tend to think that money will be there forever. It's not there forever. And I was not willing to just sit and complain and woe is me. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. People would say maybe it's embarrassing. No, you can't be embarrassed when you don't have money. You just need to get to it. So that was my thing. So I was pirating, actually. I went to Lobatse. On the way, just by
it's called being innovative.
Being innovative. Just by Mompoloki 1, police stopped me on the way. And this was...
You had people in...
I had people in the car. I could not lie. I'm actually a terrible liar. Actually a terrible liar. I told them, I was like, hey, officer, give up a heel. And he told me, this is not lawful, all that. I was like, yes, I understand. Charge me 1,000. Imagine I didn't have money then. And imagine also that that stop took about 30 minutes, because I was also trying to tell them my situation, but they would not listen. And he wrote that ticket to me. He wrote that ticket for me.
1,000.
And I had a guest by then. And I had a few people who had invited to come through.
Waiting
at the accelerator. But I had left around lunchtime, so that I knew if anything happens. So that was kind of like a low moment, but I still went forward with it. We still shot the video. And even as we were shooting the video, I was thinking about it. I was like, how am I going to pay this money? And the worst part about it was that my parents didn't know. I think actually by then I had not yet told them that I'm pirating. I was just telling them I'm going to Gebs. And then I'd go every day. And I not told them I was pirating with your car. So first of all, the vehicle license was due in about 10 days. I had to raise 1,000. I had not told my parents. And then, I was
they were obviously going to flag the
vehicle. They were going to flag the vehicle. And it was just going to be a tough time. So I think for me, that was a low moment, because I had a decision to make. I was like, I could call this off today and say, you know what, man?
No, I tried.
Things happened, there was a problem. But I was like, if I call this off, I'm a coward. I'm running away from.
You're setting a dangerous precedent.
I'm setting a dangerous precedent every time.
Because every time it gets tough, you quit.
I'll quit.
You'll get used to that idea.
Most definitely. So I decided in that moment, and it's a moment I look back at even to this day when things get tough. I remember that time when there was nothing, and I'm like, you know what? If I could make it then, I could make it today.
Yeah. Now let's talk about podcasting. It's fairly new in this part of the world. So what message do you have for aspiring podcasters and content creators looking to get started?
Create. That's my message. And I talk about it a lot. I tell people just create content. You don't have to start on YouTube. You can start on TikTok. TikTok right now rewards volume. You can start. I remember, I think I told you the story on our TikTok, our first video that we posted with 0 followers. We just brand spanking new account. I posted a video, a short clip from Deep Dive. The following morning it had 200 views. I don't know any platform that could give you 200 views with 0 followers. So I think it's just a matter of know what you want to do. And if you really believe in what you want to do, find the simplest way to start. Like I said, we started with an iPhone 8. This was actually my friend's iPhone 8. And because I had a 6, so his was better quality.
Yeah.
And a ring light. And it was a live video. And if you go and watch that live video, it has over 1,000 views. The audio is terrible. You can barely hear what I'm saying and what he is saying. But the thing was that it was a start because you can't be perfect. The problem is you can't be perfect from the beginning. And even as you are going, you still won't be perfect. It's a game of progress.
Yeah,
not perfection.
2 rules there. Ready, shoot, aim.
Ready, shoot, aim.
Number 2, never let perfection be the enemy of progress.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
So I'm just echoing what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
how did you land the gig with the Stanbic Accelerator? How did you manage to get that beautiful place?
So I initially, what we were doing, in 2020 when I finished my studies in UB, mind you there was COVID, so we finished around July. We didn't finish in May as the normal schedule goes. As we were getting closer to the end of the semester, I met a friend of mine, and this guy does websites, and he does them very well. He does websites. He also used to do social media. He had a digital marketing company, so to speak. It's called Unique Innovation FX. So I'm like, man, let me see what you do. I looked at the websites. I'm like, this quality is high, man, and you're doing it very well. Let me be your salesman. Let me go and sell your websites for you. I'll just put my markup, and then you'll just fulfill it for people. So that's really how I used to do it. So I was working for him, and he introduced me to the space. And for a long time, I was just in the space. And I was like, this space is so underutilized. It would be 3 or 4 in that space the whole day. Or sometimes it would be just me and him. And it was, I looked at it and I'm like, this is such a beautiful space. So I approached him. I was like, man, how did you manage to get this? He's like, no, I spoke to the head of Incubator. I let him know. So I was like, you know what, let me go and talk to the head of Incubator. I think also another thing that tends to work for me is that I'm not afraid to go and just speak to whoever.
There's no fear.
I just went to talk to the head of Incubator. I told him I want to start a podcast. I want to do 1, 2, 3. He's like, okay, well, that's fine. Write it down for me, and then we can discuss it, and then the rest is history. Yeah. Yes.
And they approved it.
Yes, they approved it, and then we were using it. Tuesdays are deep dive evenings. As they know it, even over there.
Yes. And in terms of creating niche subjects or interesting subjects for your viewers, what is the creative process behind that?
Okay, so every time I think of bringing a certain guest on the podcast, I probably look at a certain subject. For example, when I thought of bringing you on, I looked at the point of entrepreneurship. I looked at real estate. I also looked at your book is coming out soon, and the fourth one was an Angels Network, Botswana. So I was like, these are very valuable things for people. So because I'm always thinking about it as the viewer and the people that are coming to attend. What is something that is valuable to them? What is something that would make them come alive? What would they be excited about? And then I also asked them, would you like to have this person? Would you like to see, is this the guest you'd like to see on Deep Dive, talking about 1, 2, 3? And I get the feedback and I'm like, okay, this is what they want. Let's give the people what they want.
Yeah. And what would you say is the biggest challenge in the podcasting space in Botswana? Monetization?
I think so. I think monetization is a big one because running a production costs money. The cameras, the lighting, the sound, the team, editing, everything, it costs money. So having a great production that's quality, because we always want to create things that are world class, that it's not just a thing that can be watched by Botswana, can be watched by anybody across the whole world internationally. So I think that's a big thing for people, because there are no direct right now. There are no direct channels of monetization in Botswana. But as an entrepreneur, you have to be creative. You know, we have the live audience that comes to watch, and they pay to come and watch, because they interact with the speaker, they interact with us, they interact, and they build networks. And a lot of people have given me feedback on it. People have gotten clients just by coming to attend the live recordings.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, you're giving me ideas. I might consider moving a little bit and creating a little live audience.
Most definitely. And the chairs are here already.
The chairs are here already. That's a brilliant idea. And then, how else do you make sure that there's a return? Do you then ensure that YouTube pays you, or well, you said it can't be done in Botswana. How do we, I suppose, let me rephrase that to say, how do we as content creators in this space make ourselves attractive to YouTube?
Yes. And how do we then monetize?
Yes.
YouTube is a learned sport, so to speak. You know, you just learn it. And I think if you really look at the people that are doing it well and benchmark, you can find ways to learn about it. So as for podcasters and even just monetization, in Botswana right now, we currently don't monetize as from the last time I checked. Botswana is not in the list of countries that monetize. And I think there's about 5 or so countries in Africa that monetize. So you choose policies that you can align yourself.
Which ones are those?
The South Africa that monetizes, I think Nigeria too, Kenya too. The others,
maybe
not
Egypt.
sure if it's Egypt. Yeah. They
look at numbers.
They look at numbers too. And, you know, even the number of people on YouTube. In Botswana, there's not a lot of viewership from Botswana on YouTube. Outside of just having just a small population. Yes. So those are kind of the things that they look at. And South Africa is our close neighbor. So what we did on Deep Dive is our channel is routed to South Africa. Yes, and it's completely legal. It's not something that, you know, it's completely legal to do.
You just got someone with an address there.
Yes.
Yeah, to host you there.
Yes. So you can create your YouTube account there. The moment you reach 1,000 subscribers, which we just hit not so long ago, and we're very excited about that, and 4,000 watch hours, or last time it was 10 million. I think they've brought it down to around 5 million. Yeah, but no, that's actually 10 million. 5 million is it's for different countries actually. The first tier countries, Canada, UK, and Australia. Yes. So if you have 4,000 watch hours on your channel, which you have way more than that. Yeah,
I have that per episode.
I mean, 4,000 watch hours on that, and you have 1,000 subscribers, or it's 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours, or 10 million views on shorts, on YouTube shorts. You can monetize on YouTube.
Okay.
So YouTube starts to pay you per 1,000 views. So what they call it is CPM, cost per mil, for 1,000 views. And then for business channels like ours, they tend to have a higher RPM, rate per mil.
Rate per mil.
Which is
per million.
Yeah, no, per 1,000 views. So the 1,000 is the mil.
Yeah.
Yes, they tend to have a higher RPM, because advertisers are looking for people within the business niche, business finance. These are the people that have more quote unquote money to spend, and even have the higher purchasing power and bargaining power. You know, so advertisers usually pay higher for that. So that's why even YouTube takes it higher on an RPM level. So you'll find that a channel like ours that's having maybe 10,000 views on a video will generate the same amount of money on that same video as, for example, maybe an entertainment channel that has maybe 100,000 views. Yes, because of the RPM.
The people who are getting entertained may not necessarily have the cash.
They might not have the cash. Even the price point of what they buy, it's not the same as for businesses.
Okay.
For business, yeah.
Now, is it something you'd encourage youngsters to explore, or is it generally something that you'd say it's for a seasoned few? If you know what I mean.
Yes. I think the game of YouTube needs a lot of consistency. So I think my encouragement to people would be, the moment you start, know that you are in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
You know, you're not trying to do 1 year or 2 years, because you won't scratch the surface. You are just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to grow a YouTube channel, especially just to get the first 1,000 subs is usually the hardest. And then from there, you know, it's almost like, even as entrepreneurs, for you to make maybe your first 10,000 is the hardest, or your first 100,000 is the hardest. And then after that, it just becomes much easier because you can now look back.
Yeah.
So I would say people should really get online and start creating content, because it will expose you to so many opportunities. I've been in rooms that I was not supposed to be in, just because I'm the guy with the business podcast.
Yeah.
And they
Including
find value, including this one. You know,
No,
this
I'm
one.
joking.
Yes. And you know, I've come to meet many amazing people, including yourself, just from creating content. And I think it's something that you will not learn, you will not see the ROI. I think a lot of people wanted monetary too quickly.
Yeah.
And they don't realize just the network you are building. They don't realize that this is going to serve me 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, because being a long-term thinker is the mindset you need to have for YouTube.
Yeah. And what do you think content creators are doing wrong in Botswana? And if you were to list a few things that, no, I wouldn't do that if I were you, what would that be?
I think first of all, it's just consistency. Number one. I think second of
Lack
all,
of consistency.
Lack of consistency. You can't post a video now and then after 3 weeks. It doesn't work, because especially if you are a smaller channel, if you have if you have 100,000 subs, maybe you have that luxury, you know, to post when you can, because you already have an existing following. But because on YouTube you are building the following, you need to be as vigorous as possible. So I would say that that's the number one thing, consistency. The second thing is just quality. I think a lot of us were not so invested into it, and that quality is reflecting the brand. It's reflecting on us in a bad way, because nobody is going to engage with you. And a lot of creators talk about corporates not helping them, corporates not working with them. I think to a degree, some of the people that we work with, they've seen the quality and how we are so invested into what we do.
Yeah. Because
you can't wing it. You know, you just can't wing it. You have to be people have to look at it and say, okay, these people are very invested.
They're serious
about it. And they know where they're going. And the third thing is just having a plan about it. You know, I can't talk today about business, then tomorrow I'm talking about donkeys,
parachutes,
and then tomorrow
donkeys.
I'm talking about parachutes. Then I'm scuba diving the other day. I'm here and there. It's just a big mess.
Yeah.
And I think from there, the other thing would just be marketing. I think people just post videos on YouTube and we expect them to do well by not being intentionally pouring into them doing well, because you have to, especially when you're starting out, even the big channels market their videos on TikTok. They take those videos, they market on their Facebook, and you really have to market your videos out there.
What about boosting? Do you believe that is important or
Most
necessary?
definitely. Most definitely, especially, and when you talk about boosting, say for example on Facebook, you can laser target the audience you want. So when I boost, I'm not boosting to everyone. I'm boosting to the people that I know would find value into this. I'm going to boost, our content is on these three things: business, personal development, personal finance. The target I target is just those. You may be my friend, but this may not be your thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to target you. So Facebook can laser target
everybody.
Yes, definitely.
Personal development should affect
Definitely.
Everybody should be interested in those areas.
Everybody should be interested in those areas. But also you don't want to, because when you boost, right, there's that CPC, cost per click. So if you're boosting to people who are not interested, it's going to increase your expenditure, because it's people that are not interested. So they're gonna just, when they see the ad, they're gonna pass.
Yeah.
You know, a few may click, and then it's showing Facebook that this might not be a good ad, so the cost per click becomes higher. But if it's already people that are interested in what you are doing, they will gravitate towards you. So I'm a big proponent on that.
Okay.
I'm a very big proponent on boosting. And just to add to that, there was a guest we had on Deep Dive. He was called Side Josie.
Side Josie.
He's a cinematographer. He shoots a lot of these music videos. And he's a graphic designer. And he does well for himself. And I was asking him, who do you think is the most underrated artist? Because he's in that space. And then he told me, there's no one who's underrated. He said, if you're underrated, it means you're not pushing. And pushing, he said that you have to put yourself out there, even using your own money. You have to spend to boost. You have to spend to get the eyeballs.
Because you're investing in yourself.
Because you're investing in yourself.
And you want those eyeballs.
Most definitely.
You want those eyeballs, that attention. Attention has, in some senses, become one of the most precious commodities.
It's a valuable currency.
Yeah,
it's a valuable currency.
One for which you have to work.
Definitely.
Now, is there any other thing that you say was the challenging aspect that you've had to overcome?
With Deep Dive. What can I say? I think even just creating the brand in and of itself, there is, there's certain things you have to do for people to see what you're all about. There's certain things you have to do, and I'm a big proponent on taking yourself seriously. Even when I'm coming here, I know I have to dress well. I know I have to research. I know I have to come well prepared. That kind of thing. So I don't think it's basically much of a challenge in that sense, because I think it's something that I already knew and was very intentional about.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's just maybe as it goes out there, because people come to me and they say, I get offers sometimes. I would like to come on your podcast, and we're very, I'm strict on what we're bringing, because we want to give the viewer the best.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think people may deem Deep Dive to be this kind of brand, and this would be a great guest on your show, but it's not necessarily someone aligned with what we're doing, and even with the core values. So I've had to let go of some great offers that were here. And because
you're busy developing
I'm developing the brand, and it just didn't make sense even for the viewership.
Is there a sense in which your two businesses complement one another?
I think so. I think if you look at it in and of itself, it's Deep Dive, we're developing. It's personal development. Our mantra is, it is possible and it can be done. The mantra for Davinci is dare to dream. So it's you can actually see the parallel of these two. It's almost like it's a mindset thing, because at Deep Dive we believe one of the best ways to impact the mindsets of people is through powerful stories. So when you look at it in that sense of the powerful stories that we're producing, it's the mindset. And here also with the kids, we're working here so that they can be able to produce the results that they need.
One of the things we do on this podcast, which maybe you should consider, is that we shamelessly use our other businesses to market on this. In other words, we'd have this show sponsored by Black. We'd have another one sponsored by Mogobe Inc. And then it keeps a brand up there.
Yes.
Do you think it would be a good idea? Don't you think it would be a good idea to have the tutoring service also appear on Deep Dive sessions as maybe one of them?
I mean, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. But more to that, I think it's also a thing of being very it's a timing factor also, I think. And it's something that we have to be very intentional about and have a plan about it. But I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea, especially when they speak to, at the core of both of them, that's speaking to pretty much the same thing. Yeah,
because I think even other brands will have greater faith when they see you invested in your own brand.
Most definitely.
That's what I believe.
Most definitely.
You happen to be a Seventh-day Adventist.
Yes, sir.
What role does your faith play in all of this?
I think it's even, what role doesn't my faith play in all of this? I think it's a big part. It's a very, very big part, because I pray a lot. I pray about my businesses. I pray about even just coming here. I had a prayer, Lord, allow me to be able to to be a mouthpiece that will be of value to the person that's watching and listening, but also help me to learn. Because I'm looking to learn even as I'm here, and I've already learned, So it plays a big role in that. And to a great degree, it also plays a role in the way I approach business. Even with Deep Dive, any guest that we bring on Deep Dive, if I research you and I think you are a person of integrity, you're definitely coming on Deep Dive. So if I think you're not, it's not going to work. Yeah, it's really not going to work. So that's my thing, and that's what I gravitate towards. So it plays a big role in that, and also it plays a big role in just the value of, at the end of the day, we are here to assist. We're serving. We're on a mission here. In the Bible it says, "Go ye therefore," and make disciples, and baptize them in Matthew 28. And this is ministry. I like to think about the work that I do, whether it be at the Tutoring or a Deep Dive, as ministry, because we cannot all be pastors. We cannot all be.
We minister in different ways.
And where you are, brighten the corner where you are. So that's the way I think about it. Even on a day-to-day basis, that's the mindset I even approach it. So it plays a big role in that there are certain things I just can't do because they violate what I stand for.
Yeah, tied with that is your belief that you have to be authentic and maintain integrity.
Definitely.
My question would be, how do you ensure you walk, between those guardrails, as it were, those guidelines, integrity and authenticity?
Hey, Mr. Mpho, your questions are great. Your questions are great. I think, for me, when your head hits the pillow at night, you know the truth. You can put on facade the whole day with everybody, but when you're by yourself, so the question I ask myself is, are you okay with yourself when you're by yourself? Yes, that is what speaks to the authenticity of what I do. If for instance, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that today. It's part of what I do. It's part of my code as Mpho Mutaurirwa. I have to go and apologize, no matter how embarrassing it is, no matter what it was. If I feel like maybe I didn't speak maybe the truth to its essence and to and to what it was supposed to be, I have to go back and rectify that. So that's the authenticity that it is. And also, because of that, what I do then becomes, the fire in my bones. When I wake up in the morning, I want to do it because I'm authentic, and it's who I am, and what I want to do and produce and put out there to the world.
After I appeared on your show, you sent me snippets of the show, sort of sliced into bits.
Yes.
What's with that? Is that a marketing strategy? Tell me about that.
Most definitely, it is a marketing strategy because if you had observed, also the snippets have Deep Dive, the watermark on them. And when you share them on your platform, as you have, which I really appreciate also, people get to see, oh, he was on Deep Dive. Yes, and everyone will know that he was on Deep Dive. But also, it is a marketing strategy even for you, because you can repurpose the clips for your audience and for whatever it is that you want to do.
One of them went wild on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it does help.
Yes. Yeah. So it's definitely a marketing strategy, especially like for TikTok. There are people that really can't, that don't watch long form that much, but like short form. So you can just take it and put those short clips, and those you can break down an hour video into 12, 13, 15 portions.
So in your view, apart from that one, what are the most effective marketing strategies?
I think it's really every platform has its thing. So
you mean the algorithms?
Yeah, every platform really has its algorithm, so to speak. You're very well versed in this area.
Yeah.
And let me start with TikTok. TikTok is great with short form content, and TikTok is great with volume. So what we realized with our TikTok, when it started to do well, it was because we're posting a lot of videos. You can post this video now on TikTok, and a minute later post another one, and a minute later post another one. You can post 10 videos in 10 minutes on TikTok, and they will variedly do well, according to how well the clip is also.
Yeah.
But you posting one now is not going to take from the next one, as maybe another platform would. So you realize that other platforms, say if I post consecutively, let's say on Facebook I post 5 times in 5 minutes, you'll find that the first post I made will get a lot of that initial traction, or the first or second. But the third, fourth, fifth one, unless they're very, very good, they will get. It's almost like it's a trickle down effect. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But TikTok rewards volume. So if you want to start on TikTok, put volume on there. And
for me, the toughest one is Instagram. How do you manage that?
To be honest, I'm still navigating the space of Instagram, and I think you have done well actually on Instagram.
About 6,000.
Yeah, you've done very, very well, because I'm like 10% of that, or not, less than 10% of that, because I just got to 500 not so long ago. But TikTok, one key thing for TikTok is stories.
No, I was talking about Instagram.
I'm sorry. I actually wanted to say Instagram.
Yeah.
One key thing for Instagram is stories. Instagram stories. So when people look at your Instagram, or when they search you, mind you, content creators like us, the videos are there, they're live there. So someone can watch your video at 2 a.m. and immediately go to your Instagram or search your name.
Yeah.
If they don't find that circle around your Instagram where it's your story, where you have stories already, they're going to deem you not a very active account, and they might not even follow you. But if they find your stories and there's every 4 hours you're posting something, like you are doing like right now, your volume is, and I wanted to applaud you for that. Your volume is through the roof.
Is it?
You're creating.
Because I have a team that helps.
Exactly.
Me.
So Instagram, the stories one, is very powerful. I think one that's also powerful, and even another way of monetization is through Reels. I'm still studying it. I can't say much about it right now, but Reels are really gonna go very far. I see, for example, I can tell you about a podcast. I don't know if I should say it. It's in he's actually a guy that was born in Botswana, Stephen Bartlett. His podcast, Daddies of a CEO.
You can say it.
He is killing it. His podcast is Daddies of a CEO. Yes, you definitely check it out. He's killing it with Instagram Reels, and I want to model it and see how we can add our own twist to it.
Yeah.
So Reels are doing well on Instagram, and obviously Instagram is kind of like, it has to be aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, it's not, you can't put a photo that's not great. It has to look really aesthetically pleasing to pull.
And what about Threads, the latest, the
Threads.
newest? I've been there for 2 weeks now. It's a week and a half.
Yes.
Have you joined?
I joined Threads, but I only realized that like we had spoken the other day, when you delete your Threads, your Instagram goes. But obviously we are here to stay.
Yeah.
And Threads, I think, is more like a Twitter for sure. I'm not also very
because it's
conversant
very
with it.
limited. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In terms of, because me, coming from a legal background, I'm accustomed to writing long little write-ups.
Yes.
So it normally just cuts off.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So I think Thread is also a great platform even to show your personality, because people gravitate to also who you are as a person. So you can add a bit of that.
Yeah.
I like humor. I like, you can add a bit of that, and also add some thought-provoking ideas. Yeah, it's almost like a blog. Yeah, it's almost like a blog type of thing. I think that's the way I'm thinking about Threads.
We shouldn't forget LinkedIn.
Definitely. LinkedIn is actually where the people are that actually watch our content are. That a good majority of them are on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Of course, one question that I can't leave you without asking you is the long-term plan. When you look at that crystal ball and project 10, 15, even 20 years, what do we hope to see on the tutoring space as far as you're concerned, and also your personal brand along with the podcast? What can we expect to see? Okay,
so the tutoring, my personal brand, and the podcast. Let me start with the tutoring. For the tutoring, we're looking to expand, and we're looking to also franchise. Yes, and then we're also looking to, I was having conversations with Mutaurirwa, also looking to incorporate AI into the tutoring
with the help
space.
of such guys.
Yes, because you know when you are the first mover usually get a big pool of, you usually get, what did they say? The earliest bird gets the fattest worm.
Yeah.
So we're looking to figure it out for Botswana's context and see how we can make it happen for the tutoring. So we're looking to grow it as big as possible, as well as with the personal brand, because people, the people buy you before they even buy what you do.
What you're selling.
So the personal brand also has to be right up there. I post on, especially right now on Facebook, I'm very bullish because it's the first platform I started on. So I post there on a daily basis, on a weekday basis, because sometimes on weekends I don't post, but Monday to Friday you will have something from me over there. And with Deep Dive is really, the way I think about Deep Dive, it's crazy because the vision is just expanding as we keep going. So it's an exciting thing to talk about. I think Deep Dive will become its own ecosystem, so to speak, where we'll have so much to do. Right now, we're creating events. We had our first event on the 2nd of April, where we brought speakers. You had some of the speakers here, Mr. Sebonejo. We had Mr. Sebonejo, we had Kumo Kositile, and I was also speaking there.
Yeah.
It's going to become its own
Is it an
brand.
annual thing, or it's
Definitely.
every 3 or 4 months, or what?
Definitely, it's going to be an annual thing for that kind of event. We'll have others, even the one that we are
Working
we're working on right now,
which is not in the public domain yet.
Yeah, which is not in the public domain, and they should look out for it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really that. Yeah, it's really gonna be that, and I'm very excited about it.
But I think you can still tease the audience a little bit what you are cooking.
Yes.
I don't think there's any harm.
All right. So we're looking to Deep Dive is going to collaborate with Angels Network Botswana, and we're looking to create an event where we will bring entrepreneurs, great entrepreneurs like the ones watching this video right now, who have ideas and who have businesses that have the regional mindset, that are looking to grow and scale. And then we'll have angels come through. You will pitch to angels. You will pitch your idea to angels, and the angels will vet it. And then if they love it, you will give them, they will give you capital in exchange for a minority stake in the business. So that's really I think that's the summed up version of what we're trying to do.
Condensed version. Okay. Now, it's time for you to give us an idea. You've already told us about the future, what you're planning. But I always say to entrepreneurs that you haven't matured until you've experienced a cataclysmic event, where you've really, really received that uppercut that floored you. Are you too young for that, or is that something you're able to share?
My cataclysmic. I don't know if I've ever had a cataclysmic event. I've had challenges, big challenges, but I don't think I've had a cataclysmic where I'm just shaking and floored. Yeah, I don't think I've had it. I also think to a great degree I believe in just resilience, and because I'm signed up for entrepreneurship for a lifetime, it's almost like it's today, tomorrow is coming. So it's kind of like just the way I think about it. Because I'm just thinking, this is just transitional. Tomorrow will be better, but I don't think I've had a cataclysmic.
Does it affect your dating life a bit, being totally married to entrepreneurship?
I think
or
yes.
It's not something you're willing to discuss.
No, I'm definitely willing to discuss it. I think yes. A lot of the complaints I get from ladies is time, because I'm well invested into this, and I think there's the seasons. For me, the way I'm looking at it, it's seasons, because I also know that even as a man, you have to build yourself up. You have to build your value, And even right now, I always tell even some of my friends who are females, I'm like, if you and I were dating right now, I wouldn't be of much value to you because I haven't created it. So allow me to create it. So I really think that, but also it's almost like it almost acts like a filter. You know, it filters. It almost acts like a filter, because even the ones that stick around are the ones that are visionary. Because I think that's also what I'm looking for in a partner. I'm looking for a visionary, a running mate for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So it also filters, and even it creates a yin. It's a yin and yang.
So
to speak.
It works itself out.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Now this is your chance to hit me with the questions as we wrap up.
I'm waiting for this moment. I wanted to ask you, what is your because you know, I admire the journey of entrepreneurship you have had, and I even more admire you doing it with Mogobe. You know, so I wanted to understand, what is your conflict resolution framework? Yes, what is your conflict resolution framework in that sphere?
Okay. Yeah, no, we've had tumultuous times, like every relationship has. But what we've worked out is that, look, we need to talk. So we try and talk a lot. Obviously, being a woman, she talks more than I do, but we try and engage in a lot of conversations and thrash things out. Where we've hit a major snag, we are not too shy or embarrassed to call a third party to intervene, whether it means a family member or even a therapist if necessary, if things are really bad. We're not shy about that if things have reached a low point. But I think the key thing has always been to communicate. And what we have found is that as long as we can discuss whatever it is, we will manage to work ourselves through. And another thing that I think has worked out for us is that we do take time out. Every 3 months or so, we actually get away from our usual spaces and try to engage with each other in a different environment. That often helps. I'm not saying we don't have dramatic moments, but for the most part, we're able to work through. And what you notice when you spend 3 decades with one individual is that you more or less begin to know that person. And time has a miraculous way of working things through. And what you also discover is that the person you are with is not necessarily the person you started with. And you yourself are not necessarily that person. You evolve, you change. So the key thing is to be aware, no, but you've changed. This little thing here used to make you very cross, but now it doesn't, you mature in different ways. So there's no fixed criteria or methodology for dispute resolution, but we work through them. But I think it also helps that I've done, arbitration, and I've done mediation. I've actually got a diploma in alternative dispute resolution, which I went to school for. So some of those things that you've went to training for come in handy. Although I can't say no in such and such a case, or in this instance you can't do this. But some of the skills you've acquired somehow come in handy. But that's as far as I can take it in terms of answering that question.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. All right. That camera is yours, sir. We've wrapped up our conversation, but it's for you to just leave that viewer with something uplifting and inspirational piece as we close.
For me, I think, just like I started this interview by saying, I like to call myself a child of God. I think I could give the viewer my favorite verse. I think this verse keeps me going, and it also keeps me in check. My favorite verse is Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. For me, I don't know how I would be doing entrepreneurship without the guidance of the Almighty. and I falter and make so many mistakes on a daily basis, and this is really what keeps me centered. So I don't know I just don't know how to go about entrepreneurship without that. Yeah, because I pray a lot and I have conversations with the men upstairs a lot, so I think that's my thing. I think when you commit your plans also to the Lord, he will establish them.
Okay. Would you care to give us all your contacts, social media, physical, for both businesses?
Lovely. Okay, let me start with the tutoring. The tutoring is on Facebook. The page is Davinci Tutoring Academy. And Deep Dive is also on Facebook, Deep Dive Sessions. We're also on TikTok, Deep Dive Sessions, Instagram, Deep Dive Sessions, YouTube, Deep Dive Sessions. And then my personal brand is Mpho Mutaurirwa, my names. I'm all on those platforms. I'm all on those platforms. And my number is 75047278. That's 75047278. Let us connect.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. You've done a brilliant job.
Thank you so
Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I've extracted my retribution now.
Yes.
My revenge.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah.